Hello, my virtual kids. Today we are taking atomic structure notes. These are going to go on page 12 in your notebook. So we are talking about the parts of an atom. An atom is made of 3 subatomic particles and has 2 locations. 3 subatomic particles, 2 locations. So let's start with the 2 locations. Our first location, and you're just going to use markers and page 12, is going to be the nucleus. So I'm going to draw a small little, not too big because we have some stuff to write, a little circle. It's not quite a circle, it's not perfect, but that's my nucleus. I'm using color, but it's not showing up that well. Let's see if this helps. I don't think that helps. And then which nucleus should sound familiar. It should sound like the Nucleus arcade from your Addams Family story. Outside the nucleus, I'm going to draw 1, 2 energy levels, which should also sound familiar because you read about the energy streets in the Addams Family story. And it's okay if your circles aren't perfect. Look at mine. They're not perfect at all. It's not a big deal. Still works. So these are our 2 locations. So the first one is the nucleus. This is in the center. I'm going to try to keep these as short as possible. It's in the center of the atom. It's where the mass is located. And the nucleus has a positive overall charge. So the nucleus is in the center of the atom. It's where the mass is located. It has a positive overall charge. Okay, the energy levels or they have another name, the electron cloud, are the rings that are located outside of the nucleus. So this is where the electrons are. This is mostly empty space. The rule is 288. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And the energy levels have a negative charge. So those are the 2 locations. When we are looking at an atom, the parts of the atom are either in the nucleus or in the energy levels. So an atom is made of 3 subatomic particles. That means 3 parts of an atom. Subatomic particles, parts of an atom. The 3 parts are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Think of your characters from the story. Perky Patty proton, Nerdy Nelda neutron, Enraged Elliot electron. So in the story, 2 of those were bigger girls and they liked to hang out in the Nucleus arcade. Who would that be? That would be Nerdy Nelda neutron and Enraged Elliot electron. So inside my nucleus, I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3 protons. And because they're protons, I'm going to put a plus sign in the middle. So I drew 3 protons in the nucleus. I put a plus sign in the middle. Okay, protons have a positive charge. In the story, were they big or small? They were big. So today we are going to learn a more technical term. We're not just going to say they're big. We're going to say they have a mass of 1 AMU. This is the mass. AMU stands for atomic mass unit. It's just a name for the mass. They are in the nucleus. And they determine the identity. So the protons tell us what element the atom is. You'll learn more about that later. But because there's 1, 2, 3 protons, I know this element is lithium. So the protons determine the identity or who that element is. Okay, and then I'm going to draw 4 neutrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because they are neutral, I'm going to put a 0 in the neutrons. I think it's really hard to see, but I wish I had a black Sharpie right now. I'm putting a 0 inside the blue neutrons. I know it's hard to see. Okay. Nerdy Nelda neutron. Remember, she was very neutral. She didn't have any emotion. So a neutral charge, which is like no charge at all, in the nucleus. And remember, she had a big mass. She was a big girl. So we're going to say that her mass was also 1 AMU. Okay. In our energy levels, that's where your last character lived. Enraged Electron. At the end of the story, it had a challenge. It said that the morale of Matterville is only stable if there's the same number of perky patty protons as enraged Electron. So if we have 3 protons, 3 positives, we have to have 3 electrons, 3 negatives. Our rule says that we can only have 2 in the first energy level. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, and since I have 3 electrons total, that means I have 1 more left to go in the second energy level. And I'm going to put a negative sign on these because electrons are negative. Okay, electrons have a negative charge. Almost no mass. So I'm going to put tiny. The mass is 0 AMU. There's a little mass, but we go ahead and round it to 0. They are small, but move fast. And they're located in the energy levels. So, 2 locations, the nucleus, the energy levels. 3 subatomic particles. Protons, which are positive, neutrons, which are neutral, electrons, which are negative. And then there's one thing we're going to add that we will talk about more later, but we're going to go ahead and put in these notes. This electron, the one on the outermost energy level, has a special name. This electron is called a valence electron. It's a fancy name for whatever electrons are on the outermost energy level. And they determine the reactivity. You don't know anything about reactivity yet, but reactivity is this atom going to react with another element? Is it a crazy atom? It's running around trying to find another element to react with. Or is it a chill atom? It's not going to react with anyone else. So we figure that out by looking at the valence electron. So that's why these are going to be important. Okay, so this is your total completed atomic structure notes. I'm trying to get the whole thing in there in case you want to pause it. Ugh. Almost, I can't get the whole thing at once. But these are your atomic structure notes. We are going to use these terms every day for this unit. All of these terms will be on your test. It's important that you know the two locations, what is in each location, and then for the 3 subatomic particles or parts of an atom, you need to know their charge, their mass, their location. So what's the charge of an electron? Negative. What's the mass of a proton? It's big, 1 AMU. Where are neutrons located? In the nucleus. So as we practice this, you'll start to memorize what is where, what its charge is, and its mass is. This goes on page 12 in your notebook.